I'm just like the one-legged Forrest Gump. Brock and I were both kind of on the same level of like, hey, let's do something super memorable. We're at Joe Louis Arena. You got your family here. You have one leg. I'm Brock Lesnar. You're Zach Gowen. Let's create something insane tonight. When I tapped into the magic of professional wrestling, I didn't really feel the pain of having cancer or losing my leg. It can move mountains and it can change lives and it can provide platforms and share stories and inspire. The impact of seeing someone with a physical disability on a national platform is incredible. And I said, Jeff, listen, this is what Johnny Ace is saying. He said, kid, you got a decision to make.
The big shows, Brock Lesnar's, Vince McMahon, Roddy Piper, the immortal Hulk Hogan.
I think I had less than 20 matches before I wrestled the Big Show on Smackdown. It was wild in WWE. There's no time to sit back and enjoy it. You are literally just trying to survive and make the best out of whatever they throw at you. Not being mature or experienced enough to handle the responsibility of the gift that I was given. You're talking about grown men and women who have dedicated their lives, sacrificed. So me going into that, like, hey guys, what's up? We're all superstars. Great Muta sat me down and he said, Zach, just stop drinking. I burned every single professional bridge along the way. I found myself at 26 years old with no ability to make money, strung out, no hope. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. It felt like the end. We're driving across the border. I got the Necro butcher in the back seat with a stolen laptop. And I'm thinking to myself, what has my life become? And this is when I was sober. I've been able to live all of these lives and I'm just so grateful for it.
Attempt to walk straight or adjust your gait. This is LiMPiN AiNT. I am your handicap debating host. My name is Timmy Baltimore. Don't forget to hop on that short button, click like and subscribe. Today's guest is someone who, it's a rarity that a guest comes on that is also fitting of the title of the show. I have the magnanimous, this isn't a word that I throw around liberally, the inspirational, very honest Zach Gowen. Zach, welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Timmy, and you're right. LiMPiN ain't easy.
It's actually difficult. Yeah. I in doing my due diligence, I watched a lot of the interviews you've done. And man, you really got it together. Your spirituality, your clarity, sense of self is really something to be admired. I think, I wonder, wrestling's just a part of your story, obviously, but I don't want to minimize how impactful it was for people with disabilities. Can you just give I know you've told the story a ton of times, but a brief or however long you want, recap of exactly what happened, how you lost your leg.
Yeah, for sure. I think what makes my story interesting and unique in the wild world of professional wrestling is I lost my entire left leg to the battle of cancer when I was 8 years old. And what really propelled and helped me hang on and get through that valley in my life was my love of professional wrestling. I was enamored by it. It was a great escape for me. When I tapped into the magic of professional wrestling, I didn't really feel the pain of having cancer or losing my leg or anything like that. It was like a lifesaver for me, and, and I think every kid loves pro wrestling. Like, what's not to love about it? But most kids grow out of it at a certain age, usually around the time they discover girls. The problem with that is I discovered girls, but they didn't discover me. And so wrestling was always the constant, and as I matured and grew up, my love for the industry just grew and grew and grew. but it wasn't until I was, 13 years old and I saw Rey Mysterio for the first time that I thought to myself, I had the first thought of, wow, maybe I can do that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, because it was, unless you were 6'4", 275 pounds, you weren't, considered to be a professional wrestler. And so it wasn't until I saw like the smaller guys and with the athleticism, um, and the theatrics, and the high flying that I thought to myself, man, maybe I can do that. And because I was always a really athletic kid, even though I didn't, even though I was missing an entire limb, I was still a really good athlete. And so once that seed got planted, it was, it was I was locked in from there in terms of what I wanted to do. And uh, at 18 years old, I went to wrestling school, and then I was trained by Truth Martini. And then by 19, I had a tryout match with TNA. Um, and from that tryout match, it created a buzz within the industry. And that buzz led to my WWE contract at 20 years old.
Just a kid. Like, what a wild, wild story, Zach. Growing up, like, that really speaks to me too. The impact that wrestling has, especially if you are dealing with trauma, or growing up in pediatric hospitals. That might be something we share in common. These real life superheroes. And did you feel like what you went through when you were younger? Um, what kind of attitude did you carry into the industry? Did you have kind of the "I'm unstoppable, nothing could be worse"? Was that your attitude, or were you just doggedly determined?
No, I was just bright-eyed, man. Like that's all it was. Like I was just so happy to be in a wrestling ring and given the platform to perform. And I was just so enamored with that I didn't realize or think about like where this could lead to or the impact I might have on an audience. It was purely selfish motivations of like I just love being in that ring. And that's what was driving me. Like I studied tapes morning, noon, and night, coming up with new moves and new ideas and trying to be like, how can I be successful? How can I have the best match? How can I um you know just fulfill my dream of being a professional wrestler? That was really the attitude that I had. It wasn't, I didn't think to myself I was going to be a WWE superstar or anything like that. Like and it wasn't like I'm out to prove everybody wrong. Because I had a lot of support, especially from my trainer, and I knew, like intuitively, that there was a level of talent there, and instincts that I had naturally, that was going to lend itself to me being successful in wrestling or having a long career. I didn't really have any idea of where that would go, but I had all of the tools, and I was self-aware enough to understand that there was nobody like me. It was brand new, it was different, it was marketable, and that I was good in the ring too. So you add all of that together, and I'm like, man, this is the future is really, 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 really bright, you know.
Yeah, the like you said, the stir you caused in the industry. I had just started training in 2000, and you hear about this one-legged wrestler. I got so excited because as a spinal cord injury, you see folks with disabilities. If you look in the front row of any wrestling event, it's so many children with disabilities, so many adults with disabilities. Um, and it was so exciting to know, like, man, like if I were, and I'm your age as well. I was like, but if I were still a kid, like being able to look on the TV screen and it's, you know, if I could see him, I can be him kind of deal. And you said you didn't realize any of that impact at the time. Has that sunk in yet?
Yeah, for sure. And that's the greatest gift that wrestling has given me is the platform to share my story that inspires other people to do great things or overcome challenges. You know, but that's only something that as I've matured and I've grown that I've realized. You know, and it was like almost a Trojan horse for me. You know, like I was guided along this path for a reason, for a purpose that I didn't understand at the time. But I'm really grateful for it now. I love the professional wrestling industry, and it can move mountains and it can change lives and it can provide platforms and share stories and inspire and give people outlets and allow them to make a living. And like to me, it's the most magical industry in the entire world. There is nothing like it. And what I love is I operate in both arenas. I operate in the real world and I operate in the world of professional wrestling. And it's so funny how all of the principles and concepts that I've learned in wrestling translate so well to the real world. But like the real world has this complete misunderstanding of what wrestling is, and it's still dismissed, and it's still like almost looked down upon, or you'll get a nice big eye roll when you bring it up. And so there's still like I'm almost on this like mission of like combining both of my loves and my passions and showing people the light of like what the platform of professional wrestling can bring, you know.
Yeah.
And as someone with a disability, we know that. I mean, we you know, we've experienced that. But growing up, there was nobody that looked like me on TV. There was nobody that um there was nobody that looked like me in my neighborhood or in my school or in my surrounding, you know.
Mhm.
And so I realized, and I'll tell you this, like the impact of seeing someone with a disability, especially a physical disability, if you go through that on a national platform, is incredible. And I realized the full impact of that years ago when I was playing Call of Duty on my PlayStation. And let me explain this.
Okay,
They
what a
released
place
this.
to realize
They
it.
released a skin on Call of Duty, so a playable character, and this guy had a prosthetic leg, and it looked just like mine. And so he's walking, you know, all over the map and shooting, and I almost got choked up when I saw it. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy cow, that's me. Like that looks just like my leg. Like what is like that is such a cool thing. And I bought it immediately, and it was like such a cool moment. And I'm thinking, man, I wonder if somebody else had that thought too when they were a kid and they saw me wrestle or something, where it's just like, hey, you know, that Leonardo DiCaprio meme of like, that, wait a second.
Right from
Uh,
the Hollywood movie. Yeah. What's
yeah, yeah. And it's like, wow, man. So yeah, but only I'm just like the one-legged Forrest Gump, man. Like I'll just, you know, I've done some really cool things. I'm not very bright, and it's only on like looking back on it that you realize like, oh, that's the impact that it had, and I'm glad I went through that, or I'm glad I experienced that.
the conditions under which, the circumstances under which you were you gained attention and were hired is such a interesting story, and a perfect storm in the sense that you know, I was with developmental for quite a few years, and at one point was Dusty Rhodes's assistant or junior booker, as he used to make me feel better about it. in FCW with Steve Kern, and Steve Chamberlain was Steve
Good.
Kern's right hand man, and they the story is, correct me if I'm wrong, that John Laurinaitis got word of a one-legged wrestler and thought, how many can there be? And Steve said, I've got one here. And, you know, tough for Steve Chamberlain, but he's such a great guy. How did that, when you got the call, how did you, like, what were your emotions at the time? And, how do you feel about that mix up? Like, it's wild, only in wrestling.
Only in wrestling. And I need to meet Steve Chamberlain and shake his hand, because there's a full circle moment that happened, now 6-7 years ago, when I was in Florida getting my brand new prosthetic leg made. And it was only through, and here's the thing about getting prosthetics, it's tough. It's tough in America, even if you have really good health insurance. You know, they'll only cover 80%, the best insurance will. And these legs can run $50 to $75 to $150,000. And so you think about, all right, well, what's 20% of $100,000? That's 20 grand. I don't know about you, Timmy, but I don't have 20 grand in my back pocket just to buy. That's more than a down payment for a car or a house, even at this point. And so he runs an organization that helps people cover those costs. And I tapped into that organization, and his organization helped me get my brand new prosthetic leg, which helps me, which has led to this, that, and the other, you know. And I don't know if he knows that or not, but like when he after he left WWE, he started this organization called 50 Legs, 50legs.org. And which helps a tremendous amount of people, including yours truly, get their prosthetic leg, man. So thank you to Steve, man. He has affected my life in more ways than one, you know. So I'd love to meet him and shake his hand. But when I got that call from Johnny Ace about, hey kid, we want to sign you, you know. And he's like, you'll make this much and you'll do this, and it's just like, what? It's so surreal. So I immediately called Jeff Jarrett, because they had plans for me in TNA. And I think at that point they offered me a deal, and I said, Jeff, listen, this is what Johnny Ace is saying. What do you think? You know, what are your thoughts? And he told me, he goes, kid, if you stay in TNA, we'll treat you a lot better. But we can't match that money. There's no way, you know. We're a small company. And he said, kid, you got a decision to make.
Hell of a decision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You know, like I have to.
You have to go for it.
Yeah, I signed with WWE, and I'm glad I did. It would have been interesting if I signed with TNA at the time to see what that would have been. They definitely would have been, you know, it would have been less thrown into the wolves, I think, than the WWE machine. But you know, who knows? Everything happens for a reason.
The big shows, the Brock Lesnar's, the Emperors and Vince McMahon, Roddy Piper, the immortal Hulk Hogan, rest in peace. You know,
Yeah.
I really can't imagine being that age. And how much experience did you have at that point?
I think I had less than 20 matches.
Oh my Lord!
Before I wrestled the Big Show on SmackDown.
Man, jeez. God.
Yeah.
So how were you received initially when you arrived?
Great. Everybody's excited. Everybody's friendly. It was exciting for me, obviously. And I couldn't believe, like, overnight, like, this was what my life had become, you know? Like, all of a sudden I'm on television and big production, and I have to do these promos, and I've never talked in front of a crowd in my life, and now we're telling my story and trying to do it in a unique and authentic way, but also very scary because the everything changes from week to week and from day to day, and you got to be able to, and I just like started to develop my skill set. I didn't really know what I had or what I was good at or um, what was going to be received well. And I certainly didn't know how to like conduct myself as a professional. You know, I was a brand new kid. I didn't, and you gotta understand these waters were shark infested.
No
Like
joke.
because it's 2003, right? So let me just put you in context. WCW's gone. ECW's folded up. Now there's one show in town with an overabundance of wrestlers who were looking for spots, and they were so very, very limited. And you're talking about grown men and women who have dedicated their lives, sacrificed, have families, have houses, all like their whole lives are as they know it is they're on the line, right? So I didn't. How could you, as a 20-year-old kid, understand that context of like what it is? So me going into that, like, hey guys, what's up? We're all superstars. Like that was everybody was friendly initially, but that wore thin. And I didn't really understand and adjust to with the situation that I was walking in. And so after a certain period of time, um, a lot of the talent were just like they got sick of me, or sick of like my immaturity or my lack of experience or whatever it is, and then it's like once you pull that thread of like, oh, Zach's messing up, dude, that thing gains momentum quick.
Yeah.
And so when you have me in that position, and the perception is I'm acting like I'm better than everybody, or I'm not showing up on time, or my attitude sucks, and I hadn't deserved or worked or sacrificed enough for that position, that's going to tap into every single wrestler in that locker room. That's going to tap into something where they can grab onto it and start tugging. And so I mean, it's a kind of a natural thing, and I don't hold any resentment. And I accept full responsibility of my actions and or my inactions that led to me getting released from WWE. Um, the sad thing is, it's like if they maybe sent me to a developmental program or they coached me up or I had a little more guidance or structure, then maybe I could have survived or thrived a little bit longer. Um, but that's just the nature of the business at the time, and they have that now, thank God, which
Yeah.
with their whole system. Um, but we were just figuring it out on the fly. The business was changing, the world was changing, everything was so insane and fast moving and brand new, and so you're gonna have issues like that are gonna pop up for sure. Um, but to your initial question, everybody was welcoming and nice. I just didn't understand that I had to kind of grow and evolve from that to kind of keep my head above water, you know?
Yeah. I think and you're very gracious in how you carry it, obviously, and fully realized or as you're grown and you can look back with perspective and gratitude. But I hear that and I go, and knowing enough about culture to where the locker room leaders that were there, it could get brutal, and the fact that it wasn't like, pause, this is a kid, he's been through a lot, it's amazing that he's here, let's pump the brakes, right? Like uh let's nurture this. And obviously we can wax idiotic about that all day. But was there a point where you in that time wish things had slowed down for a moment?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I don't know if I wish things slowed down, because at the same time they were providing me this insane opportunity to like live out my dream. The problem was is I couldn't enjoy it in the moment, because I was so afraid of like looking over my shoulder or messing up or trying to do the right thing or trying not to mess up and all of that. And so I just didn't have the maturity or the capacity to handle that position. But I can't blame WWE, because they're like, hey, we have something insanely unique. Let's take advantage of it because we're a business.
And, and you're a
And
product.
yeah, we're a product and we can do something. So let's take advantage of it now, because if we don't and word gets out, then maybe it won't be as special moving forward. And so that listen, I'm a product of that time too, because this wouldn't have happened in 2025 at all. Um, which is to me like it was just like the right place at the right time with the right story, and we're able to do it. So just like with everything else, man, there's some bad that comes with the good for sure. Um, but and I'm grateful that I got to experience it, and I'm grateful that I'm even more grateful that I've been able to learn and grow from it and use what I've learned there and those relationships to kind of propel what I'm doing now. So you say to yourself, well, do I regret or would I have wished? You know, I never know how to answer those questions, because it's like, well, do you regret having cancer? And it's like, obviously, yeah. It's like I would choose not to have cancer. But
If I had the choice.
yeah, but
Right.
because I had cancer, because I lost my leg, that was able to put me in a position to being live out my dream as a WWE superstar, which led to this, that, and the other. And now I get to use that like valley or that uh, uh, tough time in my life as a tool to help people and to make a living and to love on my wife and my children. So it's like to me, it's always like I don't know. Um, there's zero regrets, man, and really just a lot of gratitude for the opportunity to live that, but even more gratitude now for the opportunity to share what I learned from it with a whole brand new audience, and I think that's really really neat. I think that's really cool.
I agree, man. I think that's neat as well. I think the fact that that you're so open and honest about it and fearless, because you have nothing to hide, because it has made you the man that you are. We go through these things and we wake up one day and we go, how did I survive that? And we're still standing. And it's uh if you're lucky, you're still
Yeah,
standing and you have some perspective.
that's
Um,
right. That's the goal, man. And this is what I told Megan Bayne. You know Megan Bayne, she's a AEW.
sure. Yeah.
Well, they don't use the word superstar. She's an AEW star. Um, and
Respect.
uh, she missed the bus. I just did recently a few months ago wrestled Ricochet in Chicago
I was just
um,
going to talk to you about that.
for them, and that was a lot. That was so cool, man. But she missed the shuttle from the hotel to the show, and she's like, "How am I going to get?" And I go, "Listen, I got my car. Let's go." And she's like, "All right, cool." She didn't know me. I didn't know her. She hopped in the car. Boom. We start driving to the arena, and like all of a sudden, I'm just talking to her like almost like a mentor figure or something, or like sit under the learning tree.
An old timer.
I'm not an old timer, bro, and then I got flashbacks to like when Ricky Morton and all the old timers and would sit me down and I wouldn't listen to a freaking word they would say. But but I'm like, I go, listen, the goal of this industry is to leave it better. Leave it like you don't leave the industry. Yes, obviously leave the industry better, but for you personally to leave the industry better than you were when you came in, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I go, if you can do that, that means you won. That means you won, you know? And I hope it's it resonated a little bit with her, what I was trying to say, but you realize how insane this industry is. It's the most wildest, full of the uh uh out of this world personalities that, I mean, you see it all the time when people from the real world step their toe in and they think, hey, I'm gonna start promoting shows, or maybe I can get a business sponsorship and we can kind of do this thing. And then 6 months later, they're like, I'm not touching that thing ever again. That's why. Because on the surface, it makes sense. Hey, man, it's a low cost, low overhead, live entertainment, fun. Who doesn't love good guy versus bad guy? We can use it to incorporate this. But as soon as they start dealing with the talent and they start dealing with the local venues, and they start dealing with sponsorships, and they're like, listen, I'm not. And they see all of the egos involved in the insanity. And my whole thing is, why do you have an ego? Nobody's getting rich here.
Right.
Like what? Like what's so? Like when nobody's famous and nobody's getting rich, and nobody like this. Why would you not want to? I can't lose tonight, brother. Like what?
Well, don't worry, you're not really.
Yeah, brother, there's 75 people in this VFW. What are we talking about here, dude? Like, can we just have a little bit of fun? You can lose, man. It's fine. But I need my payoff, you know. And the promoters skipping town, leaving with the gate, man. It's just like one time me and Necro Butcher and Gregory Iron were in Toronto for some reason, and the promoter faked a heart attack.
Stop.
Halfway through the show. So Necro stole his laptop, so we had to because he had to get paid, you know, somehow.
Right? Yeah.
Laptop, and then we're driving across the border. I got the Necro Butcher in the back seat with the stolen laptop, trying to figure out how to break into it or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, what does my life become? And this is when I was sober. Like this
sure.
like this is when I changed my life around. And I was like, what is happening right now?
I don't have to live like this anymore. What am I doing?
Yeah. No, it's just so insane.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling Megan Bayne. I go, listen, if you can navigate all this and get out better than you were when you came in, I go, that's you won. That you win. Like that is the lottery ticket.
That's such a contrast to what has been indoctrinated in my head and often a lot of people's. It's leave the business better than you found it. Well, the business it's not going to love you back.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take the job seriously. You don't take yourself too seriously, but you leaving better than when you arrived is profound. That's pretty cool stuff. The when you do appear or are recognized or in the wrestling orbit, what's the thing people remember the most?
The thing people remember the most is my match and my angle with Brock Lesnar. That gets brought up. Specific either him F5ing me in front of my mom to the ring post twice, or him throwing me down the stairs while I was in a wheelchair. They bring up which is to me amazing because that was so long ago. And one of the memories that I have burned into my skull and that I'll still recall in detail on my deathbed is Earthquake debuting in WWF.
Coming from the crowd.
From the crowd. Big John from Nebraska, I think it was. And it was a push-up contest. The Ultimate Warrior and Dino Bravo and it was a setup all along, and there's Earthquake beating up Warrior, and that is like burned into my skull.
Yeah.
Now, my deal with Brock, some people now have the same reaction as I did with talking about Earthquake and all of this. It's like
Right.
the right place at the right time at the right age, where they're like, I'll never forget that. That was the most insane thing I've ever seen him out. And so like that is really, really cool for me, because nobody gets into wrestling to be forgotten 10, 15, 20, 30 years later. The fact that I have these moments or these memories that are etched into people's subconscious, I think that's really, really cool. I think that's awesome.
The angle with Brock, you had a job to do, and it was to help get him some serious heat. Heat doesn't really exist anymore in today's environment. I feel like you get canceled with real heat. But and quite frankly, I think wrestling's at its best when it is unpredictable a little bit. There's that sense of danger. Is that real? Did that really happen? Yeah. I look back on that angle, and it's damn near perfect in so many ways. From your mother did so great in it. I think because it put me in that position where my mom went through hell with me. She was the one by me. When you look back at that, is that the fondest memory? What your mom's participation in it, or is it the whole thing?
Yeah, no, my mom was so good, and that whole deal was pitched to me that morning with Brock and my mom and my brother and my grandma. It was wild in WWE. Like, there's no time to sit back and enjoy it. Like, oh, this is cool. Like, you are literally just trying to survive and make the best out of whatever they throw at you.
Yeah.
And my mom's a natural ham. Like, she could have been an actress in a different life or whatever, and she likes being in front of the camera. She'll deny it up and down, but she loves being in front of people. And so she was great. My mom was perfect. Absolutely, you're right. My mom was perfect in that. And Brock took care of me so well. And I think he was grateful that he knew that we were doing something cool. You get talent together and you get pitched an idea that you think is cool. You're gonna be like happy and motivated and like looking forward to it, and that was certainly, I think Brock and I were both kind of on the same level of like, hey, let's do something super memorable. Like, we're at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. You got your family here. You got one leg. I'm Brock Lesnar. You're Zach Gowen. Let's create something insane tonight. And you have all of the ingredients, and I think as talent you get excited when you have those ingredients to play with. And we created something really special.
Absolutely. It's Robert Gibson used to say, when the business is bad, it's good. When it's good, it's great. And that was great. The other memorable WWE moments, I think, and quite a few squeezed into a condensed period of time. You can't say they didn't get their money's worth out of Zach Gowen, WWE.
Yeah, because they didn't pay me anything.
The Vince McMahon stuff and being a year into the industry, 2 years maybe, and working the emperor of the entire business,
right? In a pay-per-view main event.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
What Vince McMahon, there's a million stories, obviously. Do you have anything that really stuck out in your head during the the time leading up to the match and your interaction and maybe the match itself?
No, I think this is one of the first time, or this might have set the template for guest wrestlers, because they flew me out to New York to the headquarters maybe 2 weeks beforehand to kind of like script the match, so to speak.
Sure.
Which makes sense because you want to protect your product and you want to get the most out of it. Vince isn't a wrestler. I'm barely a wrestler. I have one leg. Like, so this is one of the first times that I can ever recall. And you hear about like Jake Paul doing this now, or it's a little more commonplace, with like a Pat McAfee or something, or non-wrestler,
the Bad Bunnies of the world.
Bad Bunnies, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, so we kind of laid it out a few weeks beforehand, which to me, I appreciated very much. So once I had it kind of cemented in my head what it was and what we're trying to do, then I could just turn my brain off and enjoy it while I was out there almost. And like, that was one of the most fun matches because there wasn't like this panic in my head of like, okay, how much time do we have? Okay, where do we need to go? Okay, what's next? I could really get caught up in the moment of the crowd reaction, and I could talk to the ref, and I could sell, and I could do all of this. And so I enjoyed that match immensely just because of the preparation took away most of my nerves for it, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. Isn't it interesting? You get to the Joe Louis Arena, find out that morning, hey, Brock Lesnar, we got a rocket on his back. He's going to beat you to a pulp in front of your mother. You got about 3 hours to worry about it. But you're wrestling Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
You get a month because the boss ain't going to look foolish, right? No chance. No. The period once you left WWE, and I just want to reiterate because I think people don't understand, like when you talk about maturity, not that they don't, you're not conveying it, you're conveying it well, but like I think people don't understand the level of like wrestling etiquette and what goes into it, the stuff that happens before curtain, after curtain. Is that what a lot of the issue was? Because 20 matches in, you're not going to be polished on that, Zach.
Yeah, no, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Not being mature or experienced enough to handle the responsibility of the gift that I was given. And so that, I mean, that, that it just is. And so at a certain point, they're like, hey, you know what? The juice isn't worth the squeeze in dealing with Zach. So let's get him off contract and let's send him on his way, which they did. And Jim Ross fired me. They flew me out to New York and to the offices, and he was so gracious and kind. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but as I recall, he was giving me advice, and he was generous with his time, and I wasn't able to process what he was saying, but I recall him being like almost fatherly, like in a time that I needed it, And so I've always really if you're ever gonna get fired from Jim Ross. He will he will help you out, while you do it.
Sounds like that may have been deliberate, because they don't usually fly people out to let them go.
No, I was just waiting for a phone call, and so the writing was on the wall. I knew it was coming, but yeah, it was deliberate and I mean, we could speculate for a number of reasons why, for sure, but at the end of the day, I was appreciative of the way they handled that, But my whole world got turned upside down at this point because I'm like, man, like what am I going to do now? like this is the where do you go from here? Like this was my life's plan, was to be a WWE superstar for the rest of my life. Like that was subconsciously the thought, and now that's not there. And so what the hell, and so everything started drying up fast for me because I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't know who I could trust. I was angry. I was going through the gamut of emotions, and so it was a really, really, really difficult time for me. And then at the end of the day, I found the answer for what I was looking for in drugs and alcohol. And that's what provided the relief that I was looking for. That was the only thing that really worked to kind of ease that pain that I was in. And that started my incredible journey into drug addiction and alcoholism, which happened very, very, very fast.
Yeah.
And so I went down in flames, man. And what was so insane is that I burned every single professional bridge along the way. Like I was so angry and I was so hurt that I'm like, on a subconscious level, I'm like, I'm gonna hurt everybody around me, and I'm gonna hurt everybody in the professional wrestling business at the same time. And so I mean, you name it, from Ring of Honor to TNA to All Japan to Mexico to all of, like, people would hire me and I would just blow it up in their face. And at a certain point, the wrestling business just said, listen, that's too much of Zach. We don't want Zach. Nobody was willing to give me an opportunity. And so, I found myself at 26 years old, just like with no ability to make money, no ability to do what I love, strung out on everything,
Yeah.
no hope, damned if I do, damned if I don't. And at the lowest point of my life of just like, God, man, like, is this what it's come to? Like, is this what, it felt like the end. Really, it really did.
Did the uh the spiral and the burning of every bridge out of town, was that a situation of no call, no show, bitterness, like, because I met you once in Ring of Honor. I was there with Joey Joey Mercury. He walked by, I said, nice cane. And you were in the age of the fall. It seemed like there were opportunities coming, but was it a case of just self-sabotage, right?
Yeah, it was all self-sabotage. Is that Age of the False? Oh, wait. I was thinking that was after I got sober. No, I
That
wasn't.
may have been. You may have been just stopping by the Ring of Honor show. It's like
Yeah.
2004, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that was like, I don't know, late 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, no, to answer your question, I'm sorry, you're taking me down memory lane. To answer your question, yeah, it was all self-sabotage. It was showing up late. It was having a bad attitude. It was not being in shape. It was showing up drunk, showing up high. At one point, I'm doing this All Japan tour, and like, this is going in my head. I'm like, this is going to be the thing I need to rebuild my wrestling career. Getting good with I'm like teaming with great Muta, and we're doing, like, I'm doing one-legged shining wizards, and like the crowd reaction is good, and yeah, I'm in halfway decent shape, and I'm moving good, and I think to myself, well, let me just let's cement this, and I can parlay this into success back in the States. The problem was I couldn't stop drinking. I was going out every single night, and but in my head, I'm like, oh, it's fine as long as the in-ring stuff is good and the crowd reaction is fine. So who cares what I do when I'm off the clock? At a certain point, Great Muta sat me down and he said, Zach, just stop drinking. He goes, you're getting hammered. You're embarrassing yourself in public. Do you understand that you're representing the All Japan Pro Wrestling Company. Like, and I'm like, who gives a shit? I'm going crazy. But I'm like, yes, sir, yes, sir. I'm telling
9-year-old you that conversation that happened.
Like the only thing I need to do is not drink, and then this tour is going to be a success, and we're going to have more and more and more and more. That's all I have to do. But I couldn't do that. I just couldn't. I couldn't stop. At a certain point, once that train left the station, there was no getting it back. And that's just an example of just kind of burning bridges. Not intentionally, just it was out of my control at that point. But yeah, it was tough. It got to the point where I'm, 26 years old, like I said, and I have no prospects, no hope, no nothing. There's nothing in my life, no money, no hope, no idea of, like, all of my ideas have fizzled and burned to the ground. And thank God I have this conversation with my mother where I was just open and honest and vulnerable. And I said, Mom, listen, I'm scared. I don't know what to do, and I need help. And from that conversation led to me reaching out to WWE, which immediately got me into a treatment facility, which saved my life, provided the foundation for the life that I get to live now. And that was February 2010, and I've been sober ever since, and my life has never been better, man. And it's like, holy cow, how can you go from the highs of where I was at to the lows of where I was at to, like, the level of contentment and gratitude for what I have now. It's just, I've been able to live all of these lives, and I'm just so grateful for it.
Do you remember, was there a moment when the miracle happened, or was it you look back and it was just, wow, all that hard work?
A series of moments. Just a series. Just these miracles are touchstones or lampposts that remind me I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Shoot. Here's this moment. Or my kid did this. Or my wife looked at me this certain way. And it's just like, okay, man. Or I had this opportunity in my career. Or I got to impact a student who had no idea who I was the day before. And now their lives are changed, or their path has changed. And it's like, oh, yeah, man. Let's go.
Going through everything that you did as a kid, having this absolute period of life where your wildest dreams, beyond your wildest dreams, I'd imagine, have come true, to hitting bottom. Would you say the greatest adversity in your life has been or was your own addictions?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay. My biggest handicap isn't my leg or anything I've gone through physically. My biggest handicap is my attitude. So I gotta overcome me every single day. And that's why it's a daily reprieve that I have from alcoholism and from drug addiction. It's a spiritual path. It's a spiritual solution, which requires daily maintenance. And so that's the thing I'm most proud of in my life, is the amount of peace that I have now at 42 years old. And to me, that's the greatest miracle.
That's insane. I'm so happy you made it out. Because, what's the saying? But for the grace of God, there go I.
That's right.
What you're doing now with the motivational speaking and the speaking to kids and different schools, I've probably under-delivered what that is. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, that's it, man. Through a series of circumstances, like I said, I'm the one-legged Forrest Gump. I just find myself, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm doing now, or this is what I love now. Hey, let's do more of it. Motivational speaking is the exact same way. I work for a company called Coolspeak. We're basically the WWE of youth engagement. That's how I describe it. We're the #1 youth engagement company in the country, and I'm able to make a living sharing my story, sharing tools, sharing resources, on how to overcome challenges and how to evolve along the path of success to young minds and their educators and their parents, and basically anybody who's willing to listen or take a little bit of action. And I've been doing that for 13 years now at this point, and I have the same passion for planting seeds of inspiration in young people as I do for entertaining fans in a professional wrestling ring. And so I'm beyond blessed, man, to be able to have two successful careers, and there's similarities, but there's also very big differences. Very big differences. And so to be involved in both is just an absolute blessing, man.
One of them, you don't have Necro Butcher in the car trying to break into a laptop.
Kind of while you're crossing an international border.
How did you link up with Coolspeak?
I sent an email out after I did this. I spoke at a middle school a long time ago, just by accident, basically. And I thought to myself, I want to do more of this. I love this. And so when I got home, I Googled youth motivational speakers. And I got a list of like 20 emails and websites of people who do this for a living. And I cold emailed all of them through their website or their emails or whatever it was, however I could get a hold of them. And I said, hey, my name is Zach Gowen. This is what I've done. This is my story. This is what you do. I want to do what you do. Can you help me? That's all it said. And out of all of those 20 emails, I got one email back. And that is from my now boss and mentor and CEO of Coolspeak. And the only reason he emailed me back is because he remembered me from WWE.
What? Hey, man. Hey, brother. Use it when you can.
That's it.
It's
very serendipitous. And I linked up with the best in the world because of my connection with WWE, which is just wild to me.
You have so much value in that realm, I could imagine, because of that experience being relatable, and what you can teach. I often look back at the things I've gone through, and it's like I feel like I'm often trying to find meaning to the suffering, and I feel like that sharing your story, paying it forward, educating those who have not yet been touched by that type of adversity or those circumstances, be it addiction or a disability, or those that are going through it, is one of the coolest things you can possibly do. So
it's the best thing you can do. It's the only thing you can do that's worth a damn.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your latest appearance on national television and your angle with Ricochet and your match with Ricochet. And how did that come about? How did it feel? And what do you think about it?
I think the most of it. I love it so much. Pro wrestling, man. The day before. I mean, it's the day before. It's a what if. It's a hey, how you doing? Hey, can you come visit? No, I can't. It's my kid's birthday. All right. Well, what about tomorrow? Sure, I got nothing going on tomorrow. Okay. Well, what if we get you involved? What if you do something with it? And then all of a sudden, one thing turns into another, and Ricochet is ripping off my leg, in the middle of the ring while my kids are there. and then it's like, well, can you wrestle next week? And I'm like, Actually, next Wednesday is my only day off. I'm on the middle of a national tour right now. I can be in Chicago, and it's like, all right, well, why don't you? All right, let's do it. That's just kind of how it happened. I loved it so much. It meant more than words can say to be in that environment, to be number one, to reintroduce myself to old fans and to introduce myself to the new generation. That was so cool. I'm so happy I was able to do that. But more importantly, on a personal level, is to be in that size of a production as a sober, mature, spiritually sound person. So it was like an opportunity to redo what I got wrong in WWE.
How cool is
So
that?
I was able to show up and be useful and to add value to the show as an individual rather than distract or detract from what everybody was trying to do and to be part of the team. And it's like that was the best part for me, to be able to kind of it was almost like an opportunity to make right what I missed 24 years ago on a ship that I thought had sailed. And so and to experience that with my wife and my kids there, and to have them, have that moment, or to see what their dad does or used to do. So on many levels, it was so important for me to do that. And I'm so happy that I did.
Riding a bike or
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Riding a bike,
Get
man.
back to it.
Dude, I can wrestle in my sleep, man. I've been doing it too long,
Yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't even. It was so fun, man. I wasn't even nervous about the match at all. It wasn't like I was just like literally able to enjoy every single moment, like hearing the crowd reaction, the music, the production people, messing around with the guys before the show, helping Megan Bayne out, or at least trying to, give her some advice from a old school guy. But
What a gift.
I did that thing with RJ City. We had a lot of fun. That was cool. We shot some pro. Man, it was just like, this is so fun, man. It was like one of the most fun days I've ever had. That whole day.
Dude, I'm so glad that you got to do that and be present in the moment.
Yeah.
Have the perspective, and being 19, I'm sure, in there with Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper is very cool, but it's probably a blur. And
100%.
That
yeah, because how do you stay present when it's moving so fast? It's really hard. But when you're 42 and you've been doing this a long time and you never thought you'd be in this position again, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, buddy. Is there any future that you would like to pursue in wrestling? I know you've semi-retired in ring. You've said that publicly. I don't know if that's still the case, but do you still want to be involved, or were you fulfilled?
Yeah, if I can add value, for sure. It's not a goal of mine to be a full-time wrestler for a major wrestling company.
Yeah.
But if there are so many other ways to add value to the professional wrestling industry, whether it's coaching or producing, or my new idea is to merge my love of student engagement with pro wrestling, and I've been exploring ways to bridge that gap. And so I'm happy about that. In fact, I put together a pitch for AEW to be kind of like an ambassador of sorts, where I'll go into the markets maybe a month before, talk to all the high schools and middle schools, raise brand awareness, get the kids excited about the show. We'll bring an AEW superstar out. We'll do a little Q&A. We'll have an hour produced program. Everybody kind of wins from that. I'd like to do that.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to there's so many other creative ways to explore too, that doesn't necessarily have to be involved in the ring.
Right.
And so that's kind of where I'm at now. Just one day at a time type deal.
Yeah. Do you with the limited representation of folks with disabilities, or I guess persons with disabilities? I don't know. We come from an era where I don't remember having a label for it. It's just handicap.
Yeah.
You know, we were different and we got through it. Do you is that something you feel is important to the industry?
I think it's just important to life to see people thrive and healthy and are able to contribute to society and be useful, even if they have a disability. So whatever platform that is, then sign me up for it.
Great answer, man. Killing the game, Zach. God, man. It's because you know, wrestling is a bubble, but it's so small. It's so cool to talk to you, to hear that you've through everything you've been through, and through the hard work you've done in your recovery, you have that ability to see the picture. It looks like you don't have problems with the girls anymore.
Not anymore, man. She's my number one. She's my number one.
Beautiful. I don't want to hold you too much longer. I've kept you for an hour. I could talk to you all day, though, brother.
Yeah, man. Reach out to me. Let me know if we want to keep talking. I'm around.
Yeah. Okay, I'd love to. Is there any parting words, any advice for individuals who, whether it's addiction, whether it's their disability and feeling exiled, feeling less than, feeling self-pity, any of those things? Is there any parting words, anything you could offer the people that are struggling maybe with things that you've been through and been able to endure and overcome?
100%, man. The most important thing that I can do is develop the ability to ask for help when I struggle, that's such a barrier for so many people for various reasons, and they're numerous. The ability to reach out and ask for help, the humility it takes to receive the help, and the ability to reach back and help somebody else out. And so we do it. It doesn't happen overnight, and nobody's going to get it perfect. But we do it. We do the best we can with what we have, one day at a time. And then if we do that over a period of time, that's right. If we do that over a period of time, we'll develop those skills, and life will keep getting better and better and bigger and have more depth and weight. And that's a promise, you know. To me, it all, a lot of everything can kind of be traced back to seeking God. That's the answer. Seek God. And there's so many ways that we can do that, whether you're religious or not religious or atheist, whatever your background is, or wherever you're at, God will meet you where you're at. It doesn't matter. But my mission every day is to seek God and to grow that relationship. And the more that I do that, the better my life becomes. I can't explain it. I can't write it down. I just experience it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's my reality.
Well said, man. I'm so grateful that we got to do this. My buddy Shiloh, Truth Magnum of the Outrunners,
Yeah, man.
told me that you were on the show. I said, please give me his info. Because
tell him I said hello. I told those guys, man, I'm big marks for him.
Yeah, they're awesome. Huh? They got a good little deal going. And I just want to, I just want to say, what as as important as your experience obviously has been to your life, I really think it really, can tell you it impacts a lot of people, whether they saw you in WWE, recently in AEW, TNA, or have just heard your story. It's absolutely amazing that and inspirational. I always got weird about that word. I don't know, like I feel like I was kind of like, if people threw that at me, it was like a human Hallmark card, but I'm not as far along as you are. Where you're in a much better spiritual place, but it's true. And some things just are true. And your story is moving, and you're living it, and you're honest in it and present in it. And I think that's the freaking coolest, dude. So
Thank you, buddy.
I want to thank you for being on the show. Do you have anything you want to, like, here's where we get to the shallow part. Do you have anything you want to promote, or any social media handles, any of that?
No. At Zach Gowen, and bring me to your school this fall. Let me work with your students and staff and teachers, and it'll be amazing.
I will. I'll throw up the. Do you want me to put up the Coolspeak deal?
Yeah.
So okay, I will throw that up, and if anybody wants to contact you, any educators and want to have that experience from a guy who's lived a lot of lives and is still standing to tell everyone about it. So thank you so much, Zach, for being on the show, and I'm glad you made it out, brother.
Me too. My pleasure. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your interest, man. Great interview. Good job.
Thank you, brother. All right, this has been LiMPiN Ain't Easy. See you next time.
Me and Necro Butcher and Gregory Iron were in Toronto for some reason, and the promoter faked a heart attack.
Stop.
Halfway through the show. So Necro stole his laptop, so we had to because he had to get paid, somehow.
Right. Yeah.
Laptop, and then we're driving across the border. I got the Necro Butcher in the back seat with the stolen laptop, trying to figure out how to break into it or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, what has my life become? And this is when I was sober. Like this.
Sure. Hey, you jabronis. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and podcast. And check us out on social media at Timmy Baltimore. This has been LiMPiN Ain't Easy. It's wrestling as real as it gets.